Hello there, beautiful people. I'm Sasha. Some of you know me. I am a teacher for Macrame for Beginners group on Facebook. If you are not familiar with the group, I encourage you to check them out and join. I put this link in the description below. In the group, you will find a ton of resources. A group of very talented teachers that will teach you all kinds of projects, from the beginners projects to more advanced projects. So yeah, check them out. And today I will want to show you how to make these cute little purses. You see, you can make them for yourself or for your daughter or granddaughters, little kids, little girls. They love these things. And they're not that very difficult to make. And in this tutorial, I will assume that you know nothing about macrame. So I will be teaching you all the knots and how to make them and all that jazz. So if you are a more experienced maker, you can skip the parts, go to the parts that you want, and just do what you want, right? Also, if you are interested in the kit, I have, or I can create the kit for you that has pre-measured cords. So if you're new to macrame and don't want to spend a lot of money on buying like all this stuff, I can make a kit for you. So just reach out to me either on Facebook or Instagram or here, and we'll go from there. Anyway, let's get started. You will begin by attaching holding cord to your clothing rack. If you don't have a clothing rack, you probably can be more creative and attach two nails to the wall and stretch your cord over there. So let's begin. I am going to wrap around the cord right here and attach it securely. And stretch it all the way on the other side, like this. It doesn't matter what knots you use here as long as you can undo them later. Gather your working cords and put them somewhere close so you can work with them. Grab one of the cords and fold it in half. Find the middle and attach it to your string. We will attach it with the Larks head knot. To do that, bring your cord over the string like this, and when the loop is created, pull the middle two cords through. This knot, called Lark's head knot. Go ahead and attach all 14 of your cords next to this one in the same manner. I will do one more to show you again. Let's find the middle.
Put it over your string, holding string. Create the loop and pull your cords through. Gently tighten and bring it close to the other. Now go ahead and attach the rest, all 14. Now that you have all 14 cords attached, we will start making square knots. To make a square knot, gather 4 cords on either side. Doesn't matter which side you start working on. Separate 2 cords on each side from 2 in the middle. Fold 1 cord, let's start with the right cord, over the 2 in the middle. The left cord will go over the right cord, around the back of the 2 cords and through the loop. Gently pull it up to the top. Don't yank, just gently work it in. We will repeat the same process only on the other side. Now fold your left cord over the middle 2. Your right cord will go over the left cord, around the back of the middle 2, and through the loop. This is your first square knot. Repeat this with the rest of the cords. Let's do it again. Right cord, fold it over the middle 2, left over the right, around the back, and through the loop. Same thing from the left. Left cord over the middle 2, right cord over the left cord, around back of the 2, and through the loop. Make sure that your cords are not very squished and have some room between them, but not too far apart. And repeat this process until you reach the end. Now that you have your first row done, we will repeat the process again, except we will start making square knots, leaving these 2 behind for right now and picking the ones that are in the middle. So find your 2 cords, put them aside for now, and start making another square knot the same way you've done before. Don't pull these too hard and too close. Make sure that you have room. So there will be some openings between your square knots right there. Complete this row and then we will deal with these 2 leftover cords that will be on your left and on the right. Now that you have your second row complete, let's deal with these 2. We can start another row without doing anything with these cords. So let me show you what will happen if I do. If I start another row of square knots alternating, you will have this big gap. For one, it will be probably harder to control the straightness of your next row just because you might accidentally do these. So to prevent that, we are going to make a different knot here. I call them UFO knots, but obviously they have a name, I just don't know it. To do that, bring your right cord and fold it up in this kind of zigzag shape. Now turn it over so the top crosses both of the cords. So you'll have a loop here and this cord going over too. Now bring it around and through the loop. Now gently push this up and pull on your cord to tie a knot. Don't tie it very hard. You see, it created sort of like a little UFO shape. I don't know. To me, it looks like a UFO shape. Now you have that space taken, and when you start your next row, it will be even. So let's repeat this on this side. Again, hold your right cord and fold it in a zigzag. Turn it over to create a loop and go over both cords. Bring it around both and through the loop. Gently work it up. To create your little UFO. Now from here, we'll repeat row 1. Make your square knots. Okay, again, make sure don't pull too tight. Just work it out slowly. Take your time to be sure that they're all even and line up nicely. You see how it creates like little diamond in between? The first row wasn't like that just because we had a different knot on top. But when you do your square knots all the way, you will have these little diamonds in between. And try to make those diamonds as identical as possible. So for example, if you make your square knot too loose, not only it will be not aligned with this one, but you will also immediately see that your diamond is much bigger than that one. So bring it up a little bit more and continue. Again, don't be in a hurry. If you made a mistake, gently untie it. And remember not yanking and pulling too hard. I prefer to start my square knot first and then create the UFO knot. I think it becomes more even if I do that rather than create that knot first. But it's up to you. If you feel comfortable doing that, you can go ahead and do that. This way I can align my knot right here with the middle of my square knot. In this manner, go ahead and continue and finish this row. When you finish this row, you will have 4 rows of square knots. 1, 2, 3, 4. You will continue like this, alternating for 40 rows. And when you are done with your 40 rows, we will start a design. So I believe you right now are good to go for your 40 rows, and I will see you when you are done with those. Now that you've been working on your project for a while, I have about 26 rows here. You might have noticed that on your right side, 2 strands became very uneven when the rest became or stayed the same. So I noticed this problem and I wanted to let you know how to rectify it. So because we're using more of this string, apparently, we will on our next pass turn it over. So in the long run, it will not show in your project, but we will start using this very long string more. And if you notice it early on, you probably can do that earlier in your work, probably halfway through, to even those strings out. But if you notice a little bit later, like I did, you can start doing it now. And if you run out, or if I run out, I will show you how to add more string later. But at this point, just turn it over so your short string is on the inside. And when you start making your square knots, just make it in the inside and it will stay that way. So now when you're making next row, this string will be making the UFO knot and will become shorter and shorter. At this point, you will have a long piece made with square knots. And I bet you probably are tired of tying square knots, but on the other hand, you probably can tie them in your sleeve at this point. So let's go on and start a design for the flap. And to do that, we will tie another 2 rows of square knots, but we will start at this point. So leave 4 ropes hanging and tie square knots on the row under, and the last one, and also leave these alone for right now. So we tied a row right under it, but we left these 4 and these 4 alone. Now we're gonna tie 1 more row alternating, but we're going to start right here and leave 6 strings hanging. So, and it will be 4 square knots. And 1 more. On this side, again, we're going to have 2, 4, 6 left alone. So we're going to have tempering sort of edge going at this point. Next, we will tie 2 more square knots. Taking these 4 strings, now you have 2, 4, 6, 8 on this side. And going from this side, 2, 4, 6, 8, and we're tying square knots with these 4. All right, so now you should have sort of little triangles going on in this section. Now I will show you how to make double half hitch knots. These 2 cords will serve us as the leads. So crisscross them like this, and working with this cord, you can do it under if you want. Probably let's do this under so it's not in the way. Now, this will be our lead, and these cords will be our working cords. The double half hitch knot is made like this. The lead goes on top of your working cord. Working cord goes over and through the loop and bring it gently up. Over and through the loop. One more time. That's why it's called double half hitch knot. Repeat again. Lead, and lead is always pointing where you want to go. You want this double half hitch knots going under the angle. So your lead has to be pointing where you want to go. Let's do it again. Over and through the loop. Gently tie it up. Over and through the loop. And one more time. Over and through the loop. Over and through the loop. Now you have a little frame on this side for this triangle, and we will repeat it here with the string that you crossed under. So now this string will be your lead, and the next 3 strings will be your working cords. Again, your lead goes on top, your working cords under, bring it over and through the loop. Gently pull over and through the loop. Where's our next string? Don't confuse them. Make sure that you are working with the strings that are working strings and not the ones on the other side. Again, over and through the loop. Over and through the loop. And one more time. Over and through the loop and over and through the loop. So now you should have this little roof sort of shape or a frame over these sides of the 2 triangles. Next, we will create a row of double half hitch knots going this direction. This will be our lead. And these will be our working cords. Our next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cords will be our working cords. So let's begin. Lead, over, working cord under, around and through the loop. Gently bring it up. Once more. And move on to the next one. Over and through the loop. Over and through the loop. And continue with the next 3. Again, over and through the loop. Over and through the loop. All right. Now we should repeat the same thing on this side. Now, do you remember the cords that we fixed? The one was shorter and the other one was longer. We brought the shorter one on the inside and left the one on the outside. So at this point, because we will be using one of these as a lead, and lead does not make knots, therefore it stays longer. So I will do the same thing again. I will go ahead and I flip the cords right here. So the shorter one becomes the one on the outside and the longer one on the inside. And I will use this shorter one as the lead to create these double half hitch knots. So since it's the lead, it goes over, this one goes under and over and through the loop. And one more time. And the next one. And 3 more. All right. So now we have these rows going on both sides. Now we will create a pattern with the half hitch knots going in this direction. And now that's where it's going to be important to point your lead down, because you don't have the knots up here to lead you, because these were sort of giving you a way to go and point in a certain direction. Here you don't have anything. So if you point your lead in this direction, that's how your half hitch knots will go. So remember to point it down. But to make it even more difficult on you, we will be working in the opposite, with the opposite direction of your working knots, working cords, I'm sorry. So now this will be your first cord to make double half hitch knot. So this one goes under the lead, over and through the loop. And one more time. Now take the next one from the left and make double half hitch knot. Okay, check your lead, it's pointing this direction. One more time. Next one, third from the left. Again, check your lead, it's pointing this direction. Make your double half hitch knot. All right, and one more left. Where is it? Oh, 2 more left. So the fourth one, again, the lead over, that's under, cannot. And there's one more straggler left, the very last one. And there you go. So now you have this crisscross pattern going here. So when you bring your flap over, it will be folded like this. and that's where your strap will go. When you attach your strap to the fabric, to your bag, the strap will go right here, so it will not pull on your bag. And that's why we created this pattern. So let's repeat the same thing on this side. Okay, we are taking the same lead that we were working with. So this is the lead. Now we're going to point it in this direction and work from very rightmost cord in. So that will become the first one. This one will become the second. And so on. And the last one. All right, we're all done with these ones. Next, we will make the middle pattern. And right here, we will tie a square knot around 4 middle strings with these 2. So if you look at your little roof right here, you will have 2 leads right here. So take your next cords, leave 4 in the middle, and tie a square knot. Tie it loosely so the knot appears to be on the level with the corners of your little roof. Like this. Next, we will tie 2 rows of double half hitch knots going this direction, and they will be coming under the angle like this. You can start from either side. Again, your lead is always pointing where you want to go. And from the other side. Okay, and right here, I will connect them by taking the left lead and use it as the working cord and make only half hitch knot right here. Not a double. You can do a double, but I just don't like how it looks, because if you do a double, let me show you, it will kind of stick out too much. So I usually don't. I usually just do only a half and just leave it like that. So this is what you should have by now. Next, we will tie square knots going this direction. So find your 4 cords. You see you have 2 parts right here. So these 2 in the middle will be your middle cords and the working cords right here, and tie a square knot. Next square knot you will make with the 2 right cords from the first one, and pick next 2 cords right here and make another square knot. Repeat 2 cords from this square knot and 2 from here. And the last one. And do the same thing on this side. Let's see. And to finish it off, we will tie one more right here in the middle. Next, we will create another 2 rows of double half hitch knots going under the angle right here. So look at your work, and you should take 1, 2, 3, 4th cord from either side, and they will be your leads, which will meet right here in the middle. Start tying your double half hitch knots, having these as the lead, with all of your cords going down. Okay, and now the same thing, 4th one, and repeat on this side. And once again, when you got to the middle, I would connect them with only half hitch knot. Our next pattern will involve square knots and half hitch knots again. So right here, let's make a square knot. You see, I left that lead alone and just made the square knot with the 4 strings right there. Now, taking the next one, 5th string, I will create a small row of double half hitch knots here. All right, let's move on to the next one. Now, leave this lead as it is, take the 4 strings and create a square knot. So this is your square knot. Take the string that is next to it. It will be your lead to make a little row of double half hitch knots right here. And repeat again. That's the lead, don't confuse it. 4 strings, square knot. And once more, that's your square knot. Next string is your lead for a small row of double half hitch knots. All right, now repeat the same pattern on this side. Now for here, you have 4 and 4 strands left, and we're going to make 2 square knots on each side. And one right here in the middle. All right, and now all that is left for us to frame these with another row, 2 rows of double half hitch knots. So taking your leads, pointing it down, and create the row of double half hitch knots. Okay, now repeat the same thing from this side. Now that you're all finished, you can actually tie double half hitch knot on this side just to be safe. I didn't. I don't think it's gonna get undone, and besides I can probably dab a little bit of fabric glue there so it doesn't. Now you can see your shortest fringe ends right here, and this is what I would do and go by to cut the fringe, the rest of it. So I'm just gonna eyeball it at this point and cut the fringe. You will be able to fine tune it later, because when you brush your fringe, it will become uneven again and you will have to cut it again. So at this point, I just want to get rid of this very long pieces so they're not in the way, and we will go on and put the purse together. All right, I took off our finished piece from the quad rack, and now we're going to sew it together. So this is how it will look like when we're done, except we of course will be adding the strap that goes around. And to proceed, we will sew it together with these strings. To do that, we will have to fold it inside out first. So you fold this inside out. Align your top row with where your first design starts, right here. Next, you will need these strings that are already attached, your tapestry needle, and I use tape to tape these ends flat so they go through the needle eye a little bit easier. I don't know if you can see it well right here, and that way I can put it through and thread the needle. You might find a needle that is larger and has larger eye. I don't have one, so that's why I will be using this one, and then we can get rid of this piece. So to sew, well, that's pretty straightforward. Just go from one side to another. Try to find the gaps so your string, the cord will go in and out easier. And try to make these stitches closer together so you don't have big gaps on the sides. You can also use crochet hook probably to do this, but if you have a needle, of course, that will go faster. Okay, there's a gap in there. Okay, when you come to the end, right here, just make another pass and maybe forward right here so it stays. So when you clip your strings, you can use glue, fabric glue, to glue these in so they do not come apart. I use fabric fusion, I'm not sure how you can see it or not, fabric fusion glue. So when you do the other side, just finish the other side as well. And when you snip your ends, you can put glue on the ends to keep these parts secure. Let glue dry completely. So when it dries, then we can turn that bag outside out again. Now that you have sewn both of your edges and glued your pieces right here and let it dry, we can turn this over. Okay. All right, now all we have to do is attach our string right here. All right, let's take our cord out. And you will find 2 strings in here. Now that you identified your 2 strings, what we're going to do, we will place one of these cords through, find an opening on one side. I have 2 right here, and I probably can use these. So I can put one of these cords here, and you can use the crochet hook to pull it through. I think I can pull it through without it. So here's one. And here's the other. Now take your strings and make a loop. The length that you want this shoulder strap be, and put it through from the inside out. Right there. And you can leave these hanging for right now. Right. So the principle is the same. Just create square knots. Right over 2, left over right, and under. Yeah, they're pretty long. And continue until you cover your whole string. And when you come to the other end, I will meet you there and show you how we're going to finish this strap. Now that I came all the way around and I came to the end, to this side, I will make a final square knot to connect these two around the ones that are put through. So I will do this. So they are secured. And now I will create a tassel. I will create a gathering knot right here and then cut my string so there's a short tassel right there. And to make the gathering knot, I took one of those strings that I cut off from the fringe, the longer one, and I will just split it, whatever it splits, so it's not so thick. And I don't know, maybe I split a little bit more, just right there. Now I will take my tassel right here, put one side of my string up and hold it with my thumb. I create the loop and bring it up like this. And now with this longer side, I will start wrapping around all my strings right here. Oops. Don't pull too hard because that's gonna happen. Right here. Okay. Make sure that you have this tail sticking out and you loop right here. So start wrapping around everything. Several times. And then when you're satisfied, there's like some length in there, put that string that you were wrapping around through the loop, hold it, and pull your string on the top. You see how that loop's gonna bring the string that you've been just wrapping in. So pull a little bit, so approximately your loop ends up somewhere in the middle of this wrapped part. Now you can snip this piece. And if this piece is short enough, you can snip that too, but I think I'm just gonna leave it because it's about just as long as that little tassel is. And if you want, you can also dab a little bit of glue right here just to keep that piece in. Just make sure that the daub is not too big and noticeable. and it will hold this piece together. So now you have little tassel right here to go with your fringe. And you are almost done. The only thing that you have to do now is to brush off your tassels. To brush out the tassels, I use a brush. This is the macrame brush, but it's really similar to the dog or cat brush you can get at the pet store, and it will work just fine. So go ahead and carefully brush your tassels. Make sure you don't tag on any of your knots. And you can see that your tassels become uneven right there. So you will have to give it another trim just to make sure that all of them is that length. Now that we have our bag finished and brushed out our tassels, our fringe, we can go ahead and trim them.
Phew, that was a lot of work. Look, all my hair got undone. Actually, no, I'm kidding. I created that tutorial a month ago and I just never posted it. So, but now here you go. If you like making it and you made the purse, please do tag me on Instagram or on Facebook. Let me know what you thought, and I'll see you in next tutorial. Bye.